Sonic High School, Chapter 21. Sonic woke up out of his bed and onto the floor and was still angry. Now Sonic was Black Sonic, and he had a tattoo. Sonic got ready for school by putting on scary things like chains and spiky collars that made him look bad, and went to high school. Sonic went to his classes but did not do what he was told to do in class. He did not talk to anyone, and instead, he went on the computer and looked at videos of cigarettes and knives. Sonic then arrived near the lunchroom, which is where they were having lunch. Sonic's friends. Sonic just looked in from outside while everyone was inside and no one was outside. But Sonic. Like an alive snowman that looks in your window on Christmas. Sonic saw Amy and Rouge, looking still skinny but now eating food in such a happy way. Sonic could hear them talking.
"Wow, I am so glad we are out of detention,"
said Amy to Rouge.
"Yes, thanks to Silver, we have been escaped from detention,"
said Rouge to Amy. It looked like Silver did the hero thing to do, and saved Amy and Rouge from detention, and now they were out. Sonic was not happy about it, though, being black.
"Haggard bitches,"
said Sonic to the window next to the door that he was looking through into the lunchroom from outside. Sonic saw Tails and SBO, and all of the other people go over to Amy and Rouge, laughing and smiling that he hung out with before he turned black, and he got mad and sad and left. Sonic walked by the lunchroom's food area, which was a different room, but attached to the lunchroom, where there was a separate door that could get you into this part where the food was made. Sonic walked by and looked in, and the lunch lady was there, giving food to all the teenagers. And she saw Sonic and looked surprised at how he looked, now with black fur and tattoo. But then she got over it, and waved and smiled. Sonic looked away and kept walking, and behind him the lunch lady looked sad and disappointed and worried. Sonic left the school completely, which is really bad and will get you in big trouble, and went to the Chinese restaurant. Sonic got some Chinese food and ate it, and with this food came a magical fortune cookie, where there is a piece of paper inside with a magical fortune on it that tells the future. Sonic opened the cookie and ate the cookie, but kept the paper, and it said,
"You will not have any friends if you are black."
Sonic thought about what it said and wondered what it could mean, and what it could mean for him, because it was so mysterious, always reading these cookies and their messages. After Sonic went back to school and missed one of his classes, but went to the next one. But on the way into high school, the hall man tried to stop Sonic, but Sonic punched him right in the face, so hard that he almost died and got past him. Sonic finished his school day, and then went home and punched things, leaving holes in everything that showed he was stronger than everyone now. Sonic also looked at porn that was not like he usually did, now with things like Africans and dragons. Sonic was becoming so scary. Even though he was very scary now, though, as Black Sonic, his balls still were the same and did not get cured. It became night in the world, but Sonic did not go to sleep like a normal person. In fact, when it got really dark out, Sonic got out of his room from the window and left. Because Sonic was black now, no one else could see him in the dark unless you looked pacifically hard just for Sonic. But who was going to do that? Sonic left and went to a bad neighborhood and bought drugs like marijuana and ate some of them and he ate them? Okay. And ate some of them and kept the rest in his pocket. Sonic had really changed now from being the one with the best morals to the ones with the worst, like a seagull becoming angry because it would not get any breadcrumbs in the parking lot. Sonic moved on from the bad neighborhood to where he wanted to go to next, Amy's house. Sonic's brain was now being controlled by drugs, and he was just becoming even worse than when he was just black. Sonic went to Amy's window and looked into it and saw her sleeping on her bed like a DVD not being used. His head filled up with anger, but it was in a way that he actually became kind of happy and angry and laughed, like he wanted to do something bad to her. Sonic looked down at his tattoo that said, "Fuck girls," and it reminded him of what she had done to him. Sonic was so evil that he punched through the window and ran fast right to Amy's bed, and she started to wake up a little from being in a sleep mode. Her eyes were just blinking a little, and she obviously could not see well at all, and especially could not see Sonic because it was dark, and he was now black, which was like a camouflage. Sonic just grinned at her with an evil look, and just as she started to open her eyes and see his white eyes above her, he punched her right in the face. Amy was now in a lot of pain, but still confused and surprised, and maybe thought she was nightmaring. But no, it was real, and new black Sonic on drugs was about to beat all of her shit out of her. "Fuck you, girl!" He screamed but still smiled and punched her more in the face until all of her teeth got knocked out, and she was like a grandma who could only eat pudding and not steak. Amy was now screaming and crying, but he stuck a thing in her mouth, and she couldn't do anything. He was so mad and under the powers of marijuana, and she looked at her, and she looked so afraid and scared, but he was still smiling and angry. Sonic's black rage was coming out through his fists with violence. But then, all of a sudden, Amy kicked her foot up and hit Sonic right in the balls. Thank God, because the blankest were over Amy's foot as she did this so she did not touch Sonic's ball disease. It still hurt him very much though, and he fell off her bed and was in pain from being hit in the balls, which is the most powerful spot on a man, so it hurts the hardest because it is like the information superhighway of your body. Sonic hurt so much from this that it was like a hit to his brain, and all of the drugs fell off his brain. Sonic suddenly looked around him and saw he was in Amy's room. He ran over to the bed, kind of knowing what just happened, but wondering if it was a dream, like Amy was thinking, but it was not. Sonic was lying over Amy's body, and they were both perfectly still, like a couple of candy canes, but one was sitting on an invisible bench over the other. Their eyes. Oh, they spelled there right. Their eyes were both so big as the looked at each other, both scared and shocked at what it was that was happening. Amy's mouth was all bloody, and no teeth was in it, like a hole that went straight to China, but instead it was to her boobs and then vagina. Sonic and Amy did not say anything either. Sonic suddenly looked sad and scared and got off her bed and backed away toward the side of the room and ran out of it. Sonic was feeling so many feelings, being scared and sad and shocked and surprised. He could feel little baby tears at the side of his eyes, like Jewish people being thrown up in the air at a bar mitzvah. He ran and ran as fast as he could straight down the road. He ran out of the town and through the forest like a deer that could use a car, and to the edge of the forest where there was a giant cliff. Sonic ran off the edge of the cliff in order to die. Sonic High School, Chapter 22. "We are gathered here today to put Sonic into the ground," said the funeral man. Sonic died. The other day, a security camera in the woods saw Sonic run off a cliff, and he fell all the way down and hit the ground at the bottom next to the river. His body got so messed up, he is dead for sure. Everyone was at the funeral place, which they decided to put in the garden of the school so they could bury Sonic at high school, which is where he spent most of his time as a teen. All of Sonic's friends who were there were attending his funeral. Tails was right and front and was crying, and next to him was Amy, who was crying the most, and she was hugging Sonic's mom with her face in her boobs, who was crying too, but not so loud, like a honking horn on a bike that she was not squeezing too hard. Everyone was so sad because Sonic is now dead. There was also Rouge and Cream, who was wearing a big ring with a really big shiny white Jew in it, and they were also crying because they are women and they cannot control their emotions. Knuckles and Knuckles Jr. were there and being held and crying in a baby way, and there was Silver, who was crying a little, and even Espio, too, was crying a little bit at the funeral where they all were. Miss Lesson was there and she was crying, which made her look uglier, and the lunch lady was there too, and even though she was very big and strong, she cried too because Sonic is dead. Sonic's Chinese doctor was there too also. He did not cry because his eyes were oh no. Oh no. He did not no. He did not cry because his eyes were too small. He did not cry because his eyes were too small to let them tears out. Charmy and Vector were not at Sonic's funeral because they were dead now. Blaze the cat was not there because no one liked her and no one invited her. Amy looked at Rouge and said to Rouge,
Rouge, where is Shadow? He said he was going to come to Sonic's funeral. He is not here.
Amy sounded weird and sad, and she did not have any teeth, so all of her words came out so idiotly. It was like she was a ghost who could not speak a language that humans could understand. She usually did not talk now that she did not teeth. She usually did not She usually did not talk now that she did not teeth, because Sonic punched them out of her mouth and into space before he killed himself.
I do not know. Is it that he could be late so that he's not here?
Said Rouge back to Amy in a sad way. They were right. Shadow was not there. Shadow was dark, but even he was not dark enough to not go to Sonic's funeral. Sonic's fun reel. So why was it that he was not?
Tails?
Said Amy now to Tails instead of Rouge, who was on the other side of her, more towards the middle of it.
Where's Shadow? Shadow is not here.
Tails looked really sad and crying some, and everyone thought he is going to kill himself in a few days because he is so sad and his best friend is now his dead friend.
I do not know, and it is pissing me off. I should send a robot to kill him,
said Tails, sounding mad and sad. Amy made a sad and disappointing face and said,
high school drama is so crazy.
Then the funeral man went back to the front like a standing racehorse going to the front and started talking again. Hello, family and friends and teenagers. We are now going to talk about why we love Sonic so much and we miss him. Everyone, please come up and say a nice thing about Sonic so we can remember him before we put him down. Tails got up first and went to the spot where he was and said,
Sonic was my best friend, and he was the coolest and fastest, and he always knew what to do when we were bored and wanted to have fun. We lived in different houses, but it was like we did not because we saw each other on the bus. I miss Sonic.
Tails started to cry more, and everyone thought that was sad, and Tails went back. Then Amy and Sonic's mom both did not go because they were both crying too much, and Amy was embarrassed of her no teeth at all. Then got up Rouge, who was holding Knuckles and Knuckles Jr. like a sexy pelican carrying 2 watermelons in its mouth.
I'm going to miss Sonic so much,
said Rouge. He was...
Oh,
okay, there's no... okay. I'm going to read it because the quotations are like this, so this is how it's going to go.
I'm going to miss Sonic so much, said Rouge. He was such a cool and nice guy with the best morals, and everyone knew his penis was bigger than everyone else's.
Rouge was so sex-thinking, but it was okay, because it is all about saying good things about the dead person at a funeral, and everyone nodded anyway, because it was. Knuckles said, I am a baby now, but I have always been Sonic's friend, and I miss him and want to thank care of him for taking care of me as a baby and helping me with my schoolwork as a baby now. And then Knuckles Jr. said,
I only knew Sonic for a few weeks, but he is the coolest guy I've ever known. He was so fast and smart and good at everything. I wish he didn't kill himself.
Then Espio went and said some more sad things, and so did Cream and Silver, and the rest of everyone, like a conga line of being sad. The lunch lady said that she will always miss Sonic, and that he was a nice boy, and that she wanted to take him and his friends to see Asia, and Sonic's doctor said that it might not be so bad that Sonic died because now his ball disease has been neutralized. By the time that everyone was done saying things about Sonic, they were all so tired from crying and hungry that they needed to stop and have some food. They had caramel, because Sonic really liked it after that time he had it on a vacation, and they had soda because it always made them smile. Soda makes bubbles, and it is cool, because how do they do it? But still, even after they did all this, Shadow was not here, and some people thought that was rude, and Tails was about ready to find him and cut his homo throat.
Shadow is still not here,
said Tails just out loud to everyone and not really anyone.
What the heck?
Okay, said the funeral man. Stop eating and we are gonna put Sonic into the ground forever. Everyone started to yelp and cry because that meant Sonic would never come back, because you would get so tired digging him up that you would quit even if he was still alive. Everyone went back to the sitting zone and sat in chairs, and the funeral man and his dead person workers picked up the coffin like it was only a cotton candy suitcase and lifted it over the big hole in the ground they made for Sonbic. Okay, here he goes, said the funeral man, and they dropped the coffin into the hole, and it made a loud sound.
No, wait,
said a voice from the back, and would you guess it, it was Shadow, who was now here at the funeral, finally here after it was almost done. And then he said,
I have something to say about my friend before you cover him with dirt.
Shadow walked up to the front, and Tails reached out and punched him right in the balls as he was walking by, and it put Shadow's balls out of business.
Don't be late! Why are you late? That is so mean to Sonic and everyone,
said Tails screamingly. Shadow was going backwards in pain because his balls felt like 2 apples getting eaten by birds.
Oh, I'm sorry. Listen, I have a reason. Just listen,
said Shadow back in pain to Tails. Everyone pretty much agreed with Tails on punching Shadow to show how to respect, but Silver said that he should listen to people before doing something, and the lunch lady said that sometimes you should just be nice instead of being mean, and people will learn the lesson anyway. So even though Tails is the smartest sometimes, he gets a little crazy, and other people can teach him things that he did not know, but he is still the smartest. Shadow finished being in super ball pain and went to the speaking area and said,
"Listen, everyone. Sonic, who died, has always been my friend. I may be a dark guy, and I may disagree with Sonic sometimes, but he is always my friend, and I miss him so much, even though it's only been a few days since he jumped off the big cliff and messed up his body to death. But I have something I think everyone will all like."
Shadow took out a big bag that looked glowing from it.
I spent my whole life collecting the Ultra Chaos Emeralds, and these are them. What they do is grant you one wish when you use them, and then you have to go hide them before you die. And after 100 years, someone else can find them and use them. Well, it is time that they are used once again.
Shadow held the bag of them up in the air and said,
"Ultra Chaos Emeralds, I called up the gods and use you to bring the powers down and give them to me to grant my wish. I wish."
And he did a dramatic stop. And everyone looked shocked and amazed and surprised at what he was going to wish for. What would Shadow wish for? Is it going to be for a lot of money? Shadow raised his face up.
"I wish to bring Sonic back to healthy life."
The bag glowed really hard, and everyone was making a big deal and talking and going around. The funeral man and his people got up Sonic's coffin out of the hole and put it back in front of everyone. The funeral man used his tool to open the coffin, and there was Sonic. He talked to him, shook him, and checked for a heartbeat. But no, fairy tales are not real, and Sonic was dead. Sonic High School, Chapter 23.
"Wow, I feel like such an idiot,"
said Shadow inside of him to himself, not speaking out loud.
"I thought I could revive Sonic from being dead, but I could not."
Shadow tried using the Ultra Chaos Emeralds to make Sonic become alive for another time, but he definitely did not. Shadow made a big deal out of it, and everyone yelled at Shadow and throwed their shoes at him for being an ass. Now Sonic is way down in the ground and dead, so he has to keep going and figure out the rest of high school. Shadow went home by walking, because taking Omega would have just made it too much longer to get to Sonic's funeral, so he went by walking. Shadow walked home, and now he was there, safely, without getting hit by any cars at all. Shadow went up into his house and then his bedroom, and it was all a black and red place, like a volcano inside. It looked dark and cool, but not scary like a haunted house, which is scary, and it has ghosts. Shadow grabbed his sack and looked at his jewels, and then he put them on the bed. Shadow looked at them, the Ultra Chaos Emeralds.
"Wow, they are so pretty and big, but why did they not work?"
said Shadow. Shadow looked at them further, and then he screamed because something was shocking to him. He knew what was wrong with the crystals, and what it was that one of them was missing. It was easy to see now that they were not in his bag, because the one that was missing was the white one, which looks less colored than the rest of them because it is not powerful in color like red or yellow or green.
Shit!
Screamed Shadow at his bed where the things were.
"Where's the last crystal? I cannot find it. It is not here. Where did it go?"
Shadow was screaming and going positively nuts about it all. Shadow felt like a mother kangaroo who lost her baby after it left her front pocket and left it behind at the jungle, where there were dangerous things that would eat it because the crystal was so cool looking and big that anyone would take it if they saw it. Even though the laws said that if something is there, you have to bring it to the police so that they can take it and show it to everyone to see if it is theirs, and if it is, they can have it without being nervous due to losing it. Shadow was so pissed because this did not happen even though he lost it.
I have to find it,
Screamed Shadow like a opera singer seeing a ghost. Shadow quick went to Omega, the name of Shadow's car, and got in it and touched him to make the map appear.
Omega, set your trackers to find the last Ultra Chaos Emerald, because it is lost.
Omega made all kinds of beeping and computer noises sounding like a bag of technology. Beep, 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 here it is, said Omega to Shadow, sitting him in the driver's seat, and on Omega's map screen came a red dot that said the last Ultra Chaos Emerald was there. It was not in the cityscape like before. Now it was much closer, so Shadow drove so fast. Shadow finished and got to the place where the red dot was beeping about.
Wow, it is a house?
Said Shadow.
Does that mean someone stole the Ultra Chaos Emerald and put it in their house? Is this true?
Shadow got out of his car and went to the side of the house. It was only a little dark outside because it was not late enough or at night to be the darkest possible. So Shadow went to the window and looked inside. It looked normal, not like a crazy place. Shadow climbed up the side of the house and to a window that looked like it was where the dot was coming from, and Shadow opened the window and broke inside.
Ow, ass,
said Shadow as he got in, hurting his foot a little.
Ah!
Screamed the person who was there in the room that Shadow broke into.
Cream,
screamed Shadow at Cream, who was it.
Shadow, what are you doing here? Should you be making a big fool out of yourself at the circus like you were trying to do at Sonic's funeral? There was so much disrespect coming from you.
Cream stomped her feet and made a pissed face at him.
No, Cream, you do not see.
Said Shadow, thinking but like an idiot, so he came out and saying, a bunch, sounding not correct.
What? What do you want? It is nothing. Please leave my home before I call the police.
Said Cream to Shadow.
I am here to seduce you.
Said Shadow, finally deciding upon a thing. Shadow took out his big, black, cool penis. It was... It was smoking... It was smoking at the end, like he was just finished getting ready for a big sex opportunity.
Oh my god, Shadow,
said Cream, looking shocked.
What?
Shadow felt a little nervous, but did not let it show on his face or his torrid genitals.
Yes, Cream, I want to pay for all of your children to go to school, but first we have to make some children, and I am going to do that in your vagina. Okay?
Cream looked a little hesitant at first, but then said,
You know, I accept this. I know I'm true boyfriend and girlfriend with Tails, but I feel bad for you when he kicked you at the funeral, and I want to make you feel better.
Said Cream, putting on a wink with her eyes. Cream took off her clothes and then fell out 2 boobs and a vagina.
Wow. You look so sexy,
said Shadow, pretending to think she is the hottest. Shadow took his penis and planted it right in her Shadow took his penis and planted it right into her mouth.
First, we will do this.
Shadow put his penis into Cream's mouth and put it in and out, and tried to see how far he could stick it in. Shadow's penis was so big it looked Shadow's penis was so big it looked pregnant, and it looked like an anaconda having lunch at Subway. Shadow got so far he almost filled up her lungs, and she was coughing. Ellen was holding on to her vagina for dear life because... Ellen was holding on to her vagina for dear life because it was so sexy. To her, it felt like she was trying to... For her, to her, it felt like she was trying to eat too many pixie sticks. To To Shadow, it was like he was trying to sharpen a pencil. Shadow's penis was... Shadow's penis was really big, like an... Shadow's penis was really big, like an air-conditioned vent in like an air-conditioned vent in just a building. It was hard for Cream to get a word in edgewise, but when she did, it was when Shadow took his penis out for only a moment in geologic time and she screamed,
Shadow, I am drowning in the power of your penis. I am so in love.
And then Shadow stuck his ridiculous penis back in her mouth, and she would be like a prisoner with handcuffs in her throat.
You embarrass me,
said Shadow, smiling. Then Shadow took his penis out and picked Cream up.
Let me charge up for a super ejaculation.
Shadow laid Cream down on the ground and then took his penis with him, which was already huge and shaking with sex energy, and found Cream's piggy bank, which was full of coins and dollars and things to save up for money, so she could buy what she wanted when she had enough inside of it. Shadow took it and, using his muscular penis, smashed a hole right through the piggy banks, so that now it was sitting on top of his penis like a hat. Shadow's penis looked like it belonged in a fashion show.
Huh, what are you doing?
Said Cream, who was confused but sounded so happy from doing sex that she was smiling and laughing. Shadow lifted her head up so she could see her big, heavy piggy bank on his penis, but not weighing because his penis was so strong.
I am doing this for good, Cream. Sorry.
Then Shadow swung his penis at her head on the side like a hammer and hit the piggy bank into her head and knocked her unconscious. Cream was now on the floor and not responding to life, and Shadow took the piggy bank off his penis and decided to finish himself off by himself. He decided to have his own boner ejaculation without sticking it inside of Cream, so he had to do all the sex by himself. Shadow's tumescent penis finally exploded into an ejaculation, and 999 screaming ghosts rushed out of his penis like he was opening Pandora's box and flew out through the window and escaped into the atmosphere and left stains on the carpet.
Okay, now it is time for what I really came for,
said Shadow out loud. Shadow did not even bother putting his penis back where he found Shadow did not even bother putting his penis back where he found it, and instead went to work looking for the Ultra Chaos Emerald. He looked through all of her things, and even behind pictures and posters. Cream had a lot of posters on her walls of things teenage women liked, such as the famous boy band One Sonic Direction, and famous television shows like Gossip Sonic and Pretty Little Sonic and I, Sonic, and famous books like Sonic Twilight and 50 Shades of Sonic. Shadow looked through all of these things, and even in her lip gloss and purse full of teen girl blood diapers, and could not find it. Then he got to her jewelry cabinet and opened it, and there he saw the big ring with the big jewel that Cream was wearing at Sonic's funeral, and it was actually the Ultra Chaos Emerald.
Yes, I found it. How did this get here?
Shadow shouted, picking up the ring and taking the Ultra Chaos Emerald out of the ring and into his hand. Then, when Shadow was standing there with Cream unconscious on the floor and filled with nudity, and his fat penis hanging down from his body like a dog going down the stairs, and a big shiny crystal in his hand, Tails flew into the window and thusly the room. Tails heartily even looked at the situation and said,
It is okay. I know exactly what is going on.
Sonic High School, Chapter 24. Tails was sitting in the back of the car where Amy was sitting in the front seat, where you do not drive it, and Sonic's mom was sitting on the front seat on the left, where you do drive it. The car was a SUV. They were all dressed in nice clothes because they were driving back to Sonic's house from Sonic's funeral. Tails looked like a secret agent because he was wearing a suit, but he must have been the saddest secret agent ever.
I'm so sad,
Said Amy in a crying way, sounding like the complete collection of teen idiot quotes because she did not have teeth. She was only talking now that there were most people not in the car.
I know you are, and so am I. Tails, are you sad?
Said Sonic's mom to Tails.
Yes, I'm so sad.
Said Tails to Sonic's mom in an answer to her question.
It is really difficult and sad when somebody dies, especially now that it is Sonic.
Said Sonic's mom, not crying but sounding really sad. She cried a lot at the funeral, but now she was being more normal and not making a big scene like a hot dog man selling hot dogs at a baseball game.
I know, I just...
Said Amy, trying not to cry about how Sonic is dead and she is sad.
I just want everything to go away.
Amy started to cry again because she is just so emotionally weak like a goddamn child.
I understand that you are sad, Amy, but I have to tell you something. Please do not kill yourselves, okay?
Said Sonic's mom in a very sad and meaning it way.
Being a teen is the hardest thing in the world. It is harder than being in a war or in jail. But do not kill yourself, because it will get cooler when you're done being a teen.
Tails looked down at the ground of the car and did not know what to say, but he said,
Okay.
He said it in a sad and quiet way. What was real was that Tails really didn't want to kill himself now that Sonic was dead. What was the point of living if you are not going to do it with your best friend, Sonic? Then they got to Sonic's house, and they went inside, and just after they took off their fancy clothes, then Rouge and Espio came over with Knuckles and Kunkles Jr., who were there. Rouge looked very burlesque in her tiny baby dress, with her unlimited boobs nearly jumping out of her clothing, and Espio looked like a professional movie star on the red carpet because he was wearing a suit. Knuckles and Knuckles Jr. looked like shrunken presidents because they were also wearing suits. Hello, they all said togetherly.
Wow, hi,
said Tails to them.
We have to go to Sonic's mom's to try to cheer her up to be nice,
said Rouge and Espio, and they gave Knuckles and Knuckles Jr. to Tails, who took them into a different room.
I am so sad about Sonic,
said Knuckles Jr.
This is really all the worst thing that could have happened.
Yeah, this is the saddest, said Knuckles. Sonic did not deserve to die.
They were all agreeing so much about it. After a while of not talking, Knuckles said,
Hey, Tails, the end of school is tomorrow, and I have my last ending test that decides if I move on to the next grade or if I lose and have to go back to start of high school.
Tails looked at Knuckles in a deep way and said,
Wow, that is a lot of pressure. What do you have to do?
Tails was trying to be nice and helping to Knuckles because he was a baby now. But most of the time when people complained about school to Tails, Tails just thought, not saying,
Are you the king of or queen of idiots?
Because Tails was the smartest and school was all just so easy to him, even the hardest classes that they made for geniuses.
What I have to do is write a new story about an event thing happening around town. It has to be real.
said Knuckles. Knuckles looked like a worrying boy and made a sound that showed he is worried. Knuckles was a baby. There's everything that I can lose to this, he said in a way.
I will look for a story for you to do your new story on, and hopefully you'll pass and not have to go all the way back to the beginning of high school, costing you thousands of dollars in lost fees,
said Tails to Knuckles, seriously. Then Tails asked to both of them,
Hey, can you please both give me all of your baby teeth?
Knuckles and Knuckles Jr. took out their baby teeth and gave them to Tails. Using his technology and tools and good old-fashioned elbow lubricant, Tails glued all of the teeth together to make enough teeth for one normal person mouth, and he went downstairs.
Hey, Amy, this is for you,
said Tails, looking at Amy, who looked like a total dumpster ever since Sonic punched all of her teeth out before he killed himself. You can use these teeth and they will feel just like you never lost your teeth. There's no quotations, that's how it says. Amy grabbed them from out of Tails' hand and put them into her mouth, and they fit so perfectly like a Pop-Tart in most toasters.
Wow, Tails, this feels great. How on earth did you manage to get teeth for me?
Said Amy, now sounding like she was no longer a teen loser. Amy hugged Tails.
No need to worry. You can just thank the modern efforts of science.
Tails cheered and danced a little, and Amy thanked pharmaceutical companies, and then Tails went back over to where Knuckles and Knuckles Jr. were. Then Tails went to Knuckles Jr., who was also there, and started to do a conversation with him.
Hey, Knuckles Jr., how are you?
Said Tails to Knuckles Jr.
Good,
said Knuckles Jr.
But sad, of course. I did not see this coming at all.
Knuckles Jr. hugged his legs to his body like an imaginary tree that could bring its roots up and use them as legs.
Yeah, what is your deal? Are you really psychic? Because you're just a baby,
said Tails in a curious way.
I find I seem to be able to see the future sometimes, but I cannot always control it. As you said, I am just a baby. But when I get older, I can probably use my powers to win the lottery and become the CEO of Progressive Car Insurance,
said Knuckles Jr. Knuckles Jr. was saying this to Tails.
Okay,
said Tails. Tails also thought inside his hugest brain that now he did not want to kill himself anymore. He was still sad, but talking to babies made him realize that there is a lot more to come in life, and good things, and if Sonic is dead, it is not the end of the world, but only the end of Sonic, which is sad. Tails went downstairs into Sonic's garage by himself and found Sonic's electric guitar and had it.
Sonic used to play songs on this,
said Tails to the ears of the world, thinking about when Sonic played cool rock and roll songs. Tails put the guitar onto his body and held it and thought for a minute and then began to play a song. He played a sad song that was not mad or happy sounding, but it was not a slow song. It was a medium song that did not go too fast, so you would dance, or too slow, so you would fall to sleep. Then Tails closed his eyes and just knew the words that he wanted to sing as he felt them, and he sang them out loud while playing this song that he just made up, and the words to the song he just made up went...
Being a teen is so hard. You have to learn how to drive a car, and if you hit anything, it is you to jail they will bring. You also have to go to school. It is definitely not for fools, and everything is even harder because my best friend died. Oh wow, my best friend died. I just want to hide. High school drama is so hard to be a part of. It has crazy things like friendship and love. It is the worst. It makes me want to burst. You have to get a date or everyone will laugh. And a lake, they would just push you off a raft. Girls wear makeup and guys get tattoos. And there are so many possible drugs to do. There are also bullies around and sports with balls that are round, and everything is even harder because my best friend died. Oh wow, my best friend died. I just want to hide. High school drama is so hard to be a part of. It has crazy things like friendship and love. It is the worst. It makes me want to burst. I'm doing a middle finger to God, but God is not real and the world is odd. I'm crying so much that my tears can make a cave where you cannot be scared, but you just must be brave. I am tired of teens going on I am tired of teens going on diets and being mad and starting riots, and everything is harder because my best friend died. Oh wow, my best friend died. I just want to hide. High school drama is so hard to be a part of. It has crazy things like friendship and love. It is the worst. It makes me want to burst. Oh wow, my best friend died. I just want to hide. High school drama is so hard to be a part of. It has crazy things like friendship and love. It is the worst. It makes me want to burst.
Tails' singing sounded like a beautiful butterfly telling its life story to a little boy who fell asleep on a bench in the park without losing his money to a common thief. Tails finished singing his song and saw all of the tears that were now at the bottom of his feet. On the ground in a pool so big that he could invite a cruise ship to do its first cruise in the pool. But then, all of a sudden, Tails turned and saw Knuckles Jr. at the door to the garage.
That was really sad to hear,
said Knuckles Jr.
But it is a healthy way to get rid of your emotions instead of killing yourself.
Then Knuckles Jr. walked forward into the room and tripped in a way that the door behind him closed and was now locked, and they were in the room, so they were locked in there.
Oops,
said Knuckles Jr. like an idiot baby.
Oh no,
screamed Tails out loud.
If only we had a lockpick,
said Knuckles Jr. then. Then, all of a sudden, everything came to Tails, and he realized what just happened over the past events.
That's it. Using this information and my big intelligence, I know what is happening,
shouted Tails. Tails got so excited that he spun his flying tail so hard that he went right through the locked door, so it was open now, and went out of Sonic's house and went directly to Cream's house without even celebrating at an ice cream place first. Sonic High School, the last chapter, Chapter 25.
Now I'm here in Cream's room, and here you are, Shadow,
said Tails to Shadow, who were both standing there.
Do not be alarmed.
What, I do not know what to say,
said Shadow to Tails with a big worried face, like a coconut, with those 3 holes like a bowling ball.
No, it is okay. You are doing exactly what I knew you would be doing, and I understand why,
said Tails in a cool and not angry way to Shadow, responding.
You are here to get what Cream has, and that is the last Ultra Chaos Emerald, which is what is in your hand.
Tails, being smart, was right. Shadow was holding the last Ultra Chaos Emerald, and it was in Cream's room in a ring.
Oh,
shouted Shadow.
Usually I am the one with the brain behind doing a crime, but please explain to me how you know all of this.
Well, said Tails loudly like a rock star, it all started when Amy and Rouge got locked away in the detention zone. Tails then sat on the windowsill and explained the whole thing, that was how Amy's bracelet ended up in Cream's vagina, and why Cream was the last Ultra Chaos Emerald, and why Sonic did not come back to life when Shadow tried to use them.
Amy and Rouge were in the and Cream wanted to help them before they turned into starving women whose reproductive systems died because they did not have enough nutrition to create a child ever again. So Cream decided to be a good friend, like I have always been to Sonic, and she went and broke into your, Shadow's, room to steal a lockpick. She knew you would have a lockpick because you are always saying about how you do crimes in the city environs. So Cream went and broke into your room and stole a lockpick. But when she was there, she also saw the Ultra Chaos Emeralds and took the white one because it looked like riches.
Wow, she is a stealing bitch,
screamed Shadow to Tails' listening body.
What is wrong with this succubus?
Shadow stomped his feet and bothered to put his penis back now that it was small from listening to Tails talk and not having pretend crime rescue sex with Cream.
Just wait and listen, fart nips,
said Tails to Shadow, still a little mad at Shadow for being the asshole at Sonic's funeral, but mostly forgiving him now for doing this.
Then what happened was Cream, as a halls monitor, was able to go into the takeout room because she had the power as an inside agent. She had put the lockpick way up in her vagina as a hiding spot because who was going to look even there in a burglar comes to take her carried goods? She went over to Amy in a sneaking way and moving in her mouth while still without saying the words, but by not making sound, but still making it look like she was talking and not saying them in her head, either because she was still doing it with her mouth so you could see it, told Amy to reach up into her vagina. Cream's vagina was so small and junior at the time because she was not in love. So when Amy stuck her hand up into Cream's vagina, her bracelet got stuck in there and it stayed up there, and she could not even get the lockpick anyway because Cream's vagina was basically like a pencil case full of peanut butter. It was too hard and small to get up, but it was good at holding things like Spider-Man. So Amy's bracelet was in there and Cream had to leave before she became the biggest suspect ever. And Amy did not notice and needing soda, and she put a new one on when she got home anyway, so it was like she did not notice. And then Sonic dyed Cream was wearing the last Ultra Chaos Emerald, so it did not work because the jewels have to be touching for a man to get off a wish.
Wow, it makes so much sense and is so obvious,
said Shadow to Tails with a big eye face.
I can't believe I did not think of that first. Maybe I am so dark that it is hard to see sometimes.
Shadow laughed and blackbirds flew above outside like planes running up high with invisible legs.
Yeah, but now we have to use them. We have to bring Sonic back to life.
Tails screamed at Shadow.
But first, we should get Amy because she is Sonic's girlfriend, and she should be there if we're going to bring him back from hell.
Shadow. Oh, that was Shadow.
But first, we should get Amy because she is Sonic's girlfriend, and she should be there if we're going to bring him back from hell.
Shadow shouted in an idea way. Tails and Shadow held hands and ran out the window, and then Tails flew them with his flying tails to Sonic's house, where everyone was. Tails and Shadow got there and slammed the door open like a football team, making a slammer's noise. Then they went and found Sonic's mom, who said Amy was in the other room, and Tails and Shadow went to the other room and opened that door too. Amy was inside the room watching Rouge refill Knuckles and Knuckles Jr. using her whopping boobs. Rouge was wearing a itty-bitty tiny baby bra that was so small like she got it from Gymboree, and her boobs were so super big like a couple of planets that were pretty much breaking the bra parts because they were so big. It is a rumor about the town that you can see Rouge's boobs from space.
Rouge, your boobies are out again. What are you doing?
Said Tails to Rouge, and then Rouge and Amy looked at him.
Tails, I'm feeding Knuckles and Knuckles Jr. From my boobs, it is natural and healthy to do this.
Said Rouge. Rouge's boobs were so big that it was like Tails and Shadow could not almost fit into the room with her. They were all watching the video of Knuckles and Knuckles Jr., the baby kissing that Sonic had made them to inspire his kissing powers, because watching it made Rouge make more boob food.
And I'm watching so I know how to do it one day,
said Amy, who was still looking a little sad because Sonic died, but smiling.
Cool, said
Tails.
Can I try?
Tails and Shadow went over to Rouge's boobs, but by the time they got over there, this happened.
Oh no, they were empty. Sorry.
Said Rouge to Tails and Shadow.
It is supposed to be for babies most of the time, anyway, or if you're in love.
Oh man, said Shadow to the clouds.
Next time,
said Tails, winking at Rouge and her illegally sized boobs.
Anyway, we are going to bring Sonic back to life. Come on! What? No, not again, you beguilers.
Amy screamed and almost punched one of them in the face for doing another disrespect to Sonic's dead version.
Listen, woman of the night,
said Shadow in a disrespecting way.
We are for real this time. Something was messed up, and it was all Cream's fault. Or maybe even yours if you go back far enough in the way everything happened in the world. Let's go.
I don't know, said Rouge. You were idiot ass last time at the funerella.
No, listen to them,
said Knuckles Jr. to Rouge, who was cool, not a nerd.
Go.
God, that baby is a genius,
said Shadow, knowing that he was right and that they should go with them. Tails was the smartest.
Okay,
said Amy, and they all put their things into bags and left. Knuckles, who was now a baby, made sure to put his camera with him close. Then they told everyone else in the house who was there from the funeral, which is all of the important people that you know, and they ran faster than a boulder to high school, where Sonic's funeral was, and where he was put in the ground now, but not covered up yet because they did not get to start, because the funeral was only a few hours ago, and they did not have to do it right away because it was the safest neighborhood, not like the city where Sonic's body would get stolen, sold for drugs from motorcycles. Everyone ran just so fast to the funeral spot at the high school, and when they got there, there was Sonic's coffin in the hole.
Here we are at the funeral spot,
said Tails to everyone, of course.
We gotta get it out, but how?
Screamed Amy and started to cry like a girl tea kettle.
God damn it, Amy,
said Tails in a mad, serious voice.
Stop acting like a children.
Tails thought Amy was being the kraken of drama just because Sonic was dead.
What we need to do is figure out, using our brains, how to get Sonic out of this hole.
Tails rubbed his chin with his smart hands and tried to get his genius brain running like the engine of 10 red cars.
Excuse me, let me get through, please,
said a big, special voice from the back of the room. People standing around Sonic's hole.
Oh, the lunch lady!
Shouted Tails in a happy way. Hello, children, said the lunch lady, who was also at Sonic's funeral and Sonic's house after the funeral. The lunch lady was very big and tall, and went in Sonic's hole and tossed the coffin right out onto the ground next to it. There you go, said the lunch lady with a face full of smiles. She was deaf too.
Cool, said Tails. Thanks, Shadow. Where are you now?
Shadow came in from the back area. It was dark under a tree because Shadow was the darkest person everyone knew.
Here I am, Tails, and here are my jewels,
said Shadow as he grabbed his sack.
Ready?
Here goes nothing,
said Tails like a gay little boy. Don't you just hate when people say that? Shadow grabbed his jewels and made sure all 7 of them were there, and they were. He was so nervous because if this did not work, they would surely put him under a citizen's arrest for being a public ass. If he did not do this right, he would die, and Tails would too now because he was doing it with him, and they would throw rocks at them.
Using these Ultra Chaos Emeralds,
said Shadow,
I wish up out the gods to grant my wish that you can bring Sonic back up to normal, healthy life here.
The bag glowed a whole lot and made screamy noises, and a big stick of light came down from the sky and hit the bag, and all of the Ultra Chaos Emeralds started to go crazy. They were making sounds like frogs and trains and horses and heading into each other and shooting out lights and being basically the circus. Shadow and Tails were squinty with their eyes like the Chinese doctor who touched Sonic's balls.
Wow,
screamed Amy.
Oh my god,
screamed Rouge.
Cool,
screamed Espio.
What?
Screamed Knuckles.
A miracle,
screamed Knuckles Jr. Just then, Cream got there from being unconscious at her house and unconscious and screamed,
"No way!"
Wow! Screamed Silver. Oh wow! Very impressive, said Sonic's really Chinese doctor in a less loud way, and the lunch lady said something too, and so did Sonic's mom and Miss Lesson. Then everything in the world just became super bright, and no one could see a thing for a moment, and they could not hear the noise they noticed either because there was a ringing sound in their ears. It was so crazy, like being inside a marshmallow filled of ringing sounds. Then everyone peeked out behind their hands at where they were looking, and all the Ultra Chaos Emeralds were gone, and Sonic's coffin was open, and look, there was Sonic! Sonic was standing on his coffin, and where he was, inside, and he was on top of it, smiling, and not black anymore, but regular old blue Sonic! Yes, it really happened!
Hey guys, what did I miss?
Shouted Sonic in his regular old cool way. Sonic! Screamed everyone at the same time because they were all there and heard and saw him together, so it is just natural. They all ran at him and went down from the coffin, and everyone was hugging, and it was so beautiful to see.
I heard Eggman was laughing at my funeral. What an ass!
Said Sonic and laughed because he was the most living person ever now.
Wow, Sonic, you're alive,
said Tails to Sonic.
You bet,
said Sonic and high-fived him, which is already after they hugged because they are best friends. And Sonic hugged everyone else too.
Wow, Sonic, you are really the fastest,
said Knuckles Jr.
You came back to life in 2 days. You beat the world record for fastest coming back to life because it took Jesus 3 days.
Knuckles Jr. was right. Sonic was the fastest, and now it is now proved completely.
Sonic, I missed you. I forgive you.
Shouted Amy, crying and happy. Amy cried so much. She was such a loser about emotions.
Amy, I was thinking a lot about you when I was dead.
Said Sonic before typical gay girl Amy cut him off in a rude way.
It doesn't matter, Sonic. I want to become true boyfriend and girlfriend with you now.
Screamed Amy and did holding on Sonic's hands. Sonic looked surprised.
Now? Right now?
Said Sonic with a question voice.
Yeah, right now.
Yelled Amy.
Let them watch. This is true love.
Then Amy leaped out of her clothing except her underwears like a horse jumping out of a plane and landed in front of Sonic's body, ready for his grand genitals, and Sonic already had all of his clothes off by the time she started to jump because he is the fastest.
Yeah, sex!
Shouted Sonic, and he finally revealed his penis. His penis instantly grew to dangerous levels. He swinged it around and everyone had to duck or jump over it. Sonic's penis was just the biggest penis anyone ever saw. It was like he had the World Trade Center sitting on his balls. His balls were super big too, like beanbag chairs full of olives.
Yes, my measurements were correct.
Said Sonic's extra Chinese doctor.
His penis and balls are definitely the biggest available.
Amy was so filled with sex and arousing that her boobs were rock hard. She opened up her legs and she was still wearing a panty, but her vagina was really hard too, like a trapdoor to the love basement. Sonic did not care, and he shot his incredible penis right into her vagina, through her girl clothing, and she felt his love immediately. His penis was ice cold, and it was so big that it made it... that it made it up to her body and into her mouth, and she could taste it, and it tasted like money and ice cream.
I love you,
screamed Sonic, ramming his penis in and out of her body like a drain cleaner.
I love you too,
screamed Amy, trying to make words while Sonic's penis rearranged her internal organs. Sonic took his penis out and beat her boobies back and forth with it, and she loved it. Sonic's pensai was so strong that it made her roll back and forth, and by now she was so in love that her vagina was shooting whipped cream.
Wait for me,
shouted Sonic, laughing like a millionaire. Sonic did legendary sex moves to Amy, like picking her up with his penis and doing tricks and brushing her teeth with his penis and letting her walk on it like a tightrope walker, but with his penis. He even put Amy and him into his coffin, and he wiggled his penis back and forth in her vagina while in the coffin like a beef slinky. Sonic's penis was so big and long and wide that you could fit families inside of it. If you think you have seen a bigger penis, you have not, because Sonic was in love now. Amy's vagina was... Amy's vagina was breathing hard and reaching out for Sonic's penis, and soon he put it back into her vagina and decided to do a final systems check before taking off into the semen sphere. Sonic grabbed his balls and held them back against his body and ran into Amy with his penis, and his penis immediately flooded her vagina with his fresh and creamy spores. He shot so much semen into Amy that it was coming out of her ears. Eventually, he took his penis out and shot more out, but like bullets. He even shot one into the sky. And that night, someone noticed Venus was about 10 feet to the right of where it should have been. That is because Sonic's semen bullet hit it.
Sonic,
screamed Amy.
Marry me.
Amy kneeled up from on the ground holding a big ring like the one she wore and held it in front of her face. Sonic looked at it, smiled, and shoved his show-stopping penis right there, the ring and into her mouth. And she yelled a passionate sound and Sonic said, "I will marry you." Amy drank all of the semen that she could and grew an inch in height from it. Then Amy took out the real rings that she had, and Sonic and Amy put them on so they could get married.
You just had sex, screamed Tails. You just became true boyfriend and girlfriend. Sonic and Amy.
Wow, said Espio. I thought I was sex professional. I am seeing true love,
shouted Rouge. Everyone laughed and cheered as Sonic and Amy finished doing sex and kissed each other's penis. Okay. And kissed each other's penis. Everyone laughed and cheered as Sonic and Amy finished doing sex and kissed each other's penises and vaginas and balls one more time for good luck. Then they put their clothes on that Silver had folded and put in piles for them because he was just a really good, nice guy. Hey, shouted Knuckles. Thanks, I got my story now. Knuckles waved a bunch of pictures of Sonic and Amy having sex in the high school garden area and the article that he just wrote attached to it.
Cool. I am happy that I could help you,
said Sonic, winking, still feeling like super sex Sonic.
Yes, that is a wonderful,
said a big voice behind them in an important way.
Hello, I am the principal of the Sky School. Wow, the president?
Shouted Sonic. Seeing the principal was like seeing a celebrity because he only came out one day every year.
Yes, Sonic, you are the best,
said the principal.
Yeah, he is,
said Amy to the principal.
We just had sex right here, and he is my true boyfriend now.
The principal laughed and smiled.
Wait a minute. Just wait a minute,
yelled Sonic to the principal.
I may be the best at some things, but everyone here is the best at some things. Amy is the best at being nice and having emotions. Tails is the best at being smart and flying. Shadow is the best at doing crimes and driving and being dark, but also being nice. So he is best at being two things at the same time. Espio is the best at jumping and getting teenage women. Rouge is the best at seducing and being love and a mom. Knuckles is the best at doing high school while still being a baby, and he was the best at fighting before becoming a baby. Knuckles Jr. is the best at being oh man, this is tiring. Knuckles Jr. is the best at being psychic and being cool while still being a baby. Cream is the best at being happy and kind and smart. Silver is the best at acting and being nice and normal and cool. The lunch lady is the best at making people happy and strong. The Chinese doctor is the best at medical things and Asian abilities. Sonic's mom is the best at cooking and cleaning. Miss Lesson is the best at teaching and being the nurse. Miss Lesson is the best at teaching and being the nurse. Vector was the best at biting and making people mad, and Charmy was the best at dancing and singing, but now they are dead. I am the best at being fast, being moral, and relieving others, and most other things.
Yeah, said everyone else together to save time, patting each other on the backs and laughing and smiling and cheering because they were all the best in some way.
I guess that is true, said the principal. I really wanted to thank you through Sonic. You really have the best morals. Everyone needs to learn from you, but about what the high school is really all about. It is not about the drama and being mean and being crazy and getting mad or sad or making other people mad and sad. High school is about falling in love and getting married and maybe having a kids. Thank you, Sonic, for showing everyone this. Also, Knuckles, I'm very impressed with your story, even though you are just a baby. And you passed this a year of high school and do not have to go back to the start and pay $1,000 in fees and charges.
Knuckles cheered and hurrahed like a baby, and the principal shook Sonic's hand and could not help but look at how big Sonic's penis was, even still when it was not out.
Hey,
Said Tails to Sonic and everyone.
today was the last day of school. It is summer now. Yeah, cool, great.
Shouted everyone together at the same time.
Good.
Said the principal to everyone and then to Sonic.
Now, I can do what I want to do, and that is rename the high school in your honor.
The whole big group of everyone laughed and smiled and walked away toward the sun, ready to go have summer before they would have to return to the new Sonic High School. The end.
Holy my goodness gracious, folks. That was a long story, but I've been wanting to read it for myself for quite a while. It has been taxing on my voice. This is like my first big endeavor. Ugh, I can't even talk. To try some voice acting stuff. So I got my setup here and everything like that with the big mic and the stuff and the crane and all that stuff. But this was fun. This was really fun. I've heard this story before, and it's still ridiculous and crazy. And I took some artistic liberties with it a little bit for some things that are not good to say nowadays. But ultimately, I did enjoy this. I hope you guys, whoever listens to this, enjoyed it and laughed along with it. And you can listen to my other stuff. I'm gonna try and do more of these and see if I could keep practicing all these voices. Man, my Sonic voice is shot now. My Mario voice, I don't know. I chose Mario for the principal and absolutely shot my voice. I tried to do Wario earlier, but I was already like an hour into this, and so my throat was already giving out. And Knuckles Jr. really destroyed my voice as well. It seemed like all the high-pitched ones are really hard. But because by the time I got back to Sonic, it was already gone. But I've been recording these in big giant 1 hour. This is the longest one. So there's other versions of this that you can listen to as well. I was inspired by one of my favorite YouTubers, Bryn Daniel, and another group of YouTubers, the Beef Boys. They also did their own Sonic reading. But there are 4 of them, and they brought in some guests as well, so it wasn't as taxing for them on their voices. And Bradeno did it all by himself, and he did it chapter by chapter instead of every 5 chapters, which is what I did, but I didn't want it to go any longer. Well, you can listen to my other stuff as well. I got Sports Goose, my other podcast. I always have links to that in my descriptions, and my YouTube stuff, and I'm going to... and now I got this mic set up, and I'm going to try and do more voice acting. But my voice is shot. I've been drinking a lot of water, and but I enjoyed this. This was super fun. So, whoever listened to this, thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you laughed. I hope you got through all of these. My favorite lines were basically when the author was just trying to describe things and use all kinds of crazy things, like when you take your battery halfway out of a toy and your brother spilled juice on it so you didn't work right no more. That was a good one. So there's a bunch of them. And yeah, so thanks everyone. Take care.